Bonjour la classe de français 2. Aujourd'hui, nous allons préparer pour notre examen qui va être mercredi. Today, we're going to prepare for our Unit 8 test, which is going to be this Wednesday. All right, let's get started. First up, our first section will be some multiple choice. In this section, you will need to identify the choice that best completes the statement or answers our question. So, for example, elle blinque la jambe. Would our answers be A, à glisser, B, s'est cassé, C, à ausculter, or D, à emmener? If you said B, s'est cassé, you would be correct. Okay, on to our next slide. Next, part 2 will be some matching. Take a look here. What you'll need to do is match each item with its correct definition below. So, for example, we have transporter, être moins malade, partie de la jambe au-dessus du pied, and 4, partie de la main. And we have to match it up with aller mieux, emmener, le doigt, et la cheville. Okay, let's see if we can match these up. Transporter means to transport, so we would match that up with letter B, emmener, which means to bring. Number 2, être moins malade. That means to be less sick. We would match that up with letter A, aller mieux, which means to feel better. Number 3, partie de la jambe au-dessus du pied. That means the part of the leg that's just above the foot, and that would be, of course, la cheville. And numéro 4, partie de la main, a part of the hand, that would be le doigt. Those would be our best answers for our matching. Okay, let's go on to our next section. Part 3, vocabulary. You'll need to choose the best answer that defines the vocabulary term. For example, we have le bras. Would our answers be the arm, the finger, the ankle, or the leg? Obviously, our best answer here is letter A, the arm. Okay, let's go on to part 4. Part 4 will be qui ou que. What you need to do in this section, you'll have to complete the following sentences with either qu'est-ce qui, qu'est-ce que, ce qui, or ce que. So, for example, we have je ne sais pas, blank est arrivé. Our answer is going to be A, qu'est-ce qui, B, ce qui, C, qu'est-ce que, or D, ce que. Now, first off, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to pay attention to if this is a direct question or an indirect question. Obviously, we know that it is an indirect question. There's a couple dead giveaways. One, there's no question mark. And 2, we're starting off with saying, I do not know. So because it's an indirect question, we know that we can eliminate answers A and answers C. It can't be either qu'est-ce qui or qu'est-ce que. So now we're left with either ce qui or ce que. And because our sentence has no subject pronoun, but we just start off with a verb, we know it can't be ce que, it has to be ce qui. Okay, let's go on to our next section. Part 5 will have object pronouns. In this section, you're going to have to complete the following sentences with the correct object pronouns. So, for example, we have je montre les radios aux parents maintenant. Non, ne, blank, blé, montrez pas. So our choices will be A, les leurs, B, le ce, C, le lait, or D, me lait. Now, when we look at our sentence, we have to take a look here appropriately. We have to identify what it is we're talking about. So we're talking about les radios, and we're talking about aux parents. We're going to be montre, and then montrer, showing them. So we know that we're going to replace it with being les, and because we have parents, more than one person, it's going to be leur. So we know we're going to have les and leur. Now we have to decide their order. It's because it's les and leur, we know it can't be B, and we know it can't be D. Now, if you recall from our notes, lay is always going to go in front of lur, so it can't be C. Our correct answer for this is going to be A. Okay, let's go on to our next section. Part 6 will have some vrai or faux, true or false. You need just to indicate whether the statement is true or if it's false. For example, en France, pour appeler police secours, on compose le 911. So, in France, one calls emergency by dialing 911. 911, that is only here in the U.S., so this is definitely faux. Okay, let's go on to our next section. Part 6 will have a short conversation. In this section, you'll need to read the following conversation and answer the questions with either vrai or faux. No examples here, this will because the conversation will be part of the test. Our next section will be part 7, which will be some more multiple choice here. What you need to do is read the following statements and mark the best answer. For example, le chirurgien orthopédiste lui a mis la jambe dans. Would it be A, le béquille, B, le plâtre, or C, le brancard? So obviously we need to understand what our sentence is saying. So we're saying here the orthopedic surgeon has put his leg in. So we have to look at our answers, and then we have le béquille, that is a crutch. So obviously not a crutch. We're not going to put our leg in a crutch. Le plâtre, that is plaster. That is definitely going to be our best answer. And the brancard is a stretcher. So we're not going to put our leg in a stretcher. That wouldn't make any sense. Okay, let's go on to our next section. Our next section is the future. What you'll need to do in this section is you'll need to rewrite the following sentences from the present tense and rewrite that into the future tense. Follow our model here. So for example, we have Je vais à la plage. So take a moment and rewrite this into the future tense. So first off, what we need to do is obviously identify our verb. Our verb here is vais, which is the verb aller. So once we identify that our verb is aller, we need to next identify what our stem is for this verb. Because it's an irregular verb, we know that aller, the stem is ir, ir. Right? And then because we're in the future tense, we need to add on the appropriate future ending. And because our subject pronoun is je, we need to add on our ending of a, I. So, irai. So now, when we rewrite our sentence, it'll look like this. J'irai à la plage. Okay, let's go on to our next section. Part 9 is going to be the conditional tense. So what we'll have to do is something very similar. We'll need to rewrite the following sentences, this time from the past tense, and make it into the conditional tense. You'll need to pay special attention to our verbs here. So let's take a look at our model. Our sentence here, we have J'ai regardé la télé. Now, when I look at this sentence, because I know it's the past tense, my verb actually is regarder. That's the action verb. I have watched the TV. So we're going to get rid of the avoir. That's going to be completely eliminated from our sentence because we're going to be writing in just the conditional. So when we take a look at regarder, we need to make sure we put it back into its original form, which is regarder. And because it's a regular ER verb, we don't do anything else to it. It keeps the same stem. Now our subject pronoun is je, and because it's je, in the conditional tense, our ending is going to be AIS. So now, when we rewrite our sentence, it's going to look like this. Je regarderai la télé. Alright, on to our final section. This is going to be our verb conjugations. What you'll need to do is to pick two verbs from each tense and conjugate them. You may choose one more verb from each tense for extra credit. So first up we have the imperfect tense. You need to choose two of these verbs between être, avoir, aller, perdre, or comprendre. Next, we have the future tense. You'll need to choose either avoir, aller, grandir, danser, or attendre. We'll then have the conditional tense, faire, être, rougir, chanter, or répondre. And finally, our past tense, choisir, venir, tomber, and vendre. So you must pick 2 verbs from each of these tenses. That's a total of 8, and you may do 1 verb from each tense for extra credit. So you may do an additional 4 for 2 points extra credit for each one that you complete. Okay, that's it for our test review. I have posted a copy of our test review also in Google Classroom. You can pull it up in your Google Docs. In there, if you wish, you may conjugate your verbs for practice. If you want some help with your verb conjugations, you may turn in the test review notes and have me take a look at it. Please include a little note saying, Mr. Howard, would you please take a look at my verb conjugations? I'd be more than happy to take a look at that. Don't forget, our test will be on Wednesday. Étudiez bien et bonne chance.